This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by Walton's, Nutrisource Pet Foods, Aluma Trailers, and by Onyx Hunt. My guest today is Neal Tacheny from Deep Portage Learning Center in Hackensack, Minnesota. Neal is part of a team hosting an Upland Bird Camp this summer. It's a camp they've put on for the past 30 years. They teach young bird hunters everything from hunting basics to perfecting their aim to training their own bird dogs. We'll find out how this camp has changed his life and how it may impact yours. The Onyx Hunt app is one of the most valuable hunting tools that I take into the field every day, and now that app is available in our vehicles. Yep, Onyx did it. They launched Apple CarPlay. That means when you plug your phone into your vehicle, you now have the option to open up the Onyx app right on the dash of your hunting rig. No more holding your phone while driving, which is obviously dangerous, and you get all of the same layers on your vehicle dash that you get on your phone. You can see the aerial view of your location while driving down the road, just like you'd see if you're using your own maps, apps, Waze, or Google Maps. Except now you can find out if the properties around you are open to the public, the landowner's name that owns the land. And if you're in North Dakota, you can see if that land is posted without even touching your phone. To use this feature, simply make sure your Onyx app is up to date. And if you're not an iPhone user, don't worry. Onyx is currently working on the same platform for Android phones too. Apple CarPlay, the latest incredible feature from Onyx Hunt. Always know where you stand and now where you drive with Onyx Hunt. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank. I'm your host, Brandon Morton. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah, you look tired.
Well, thank you. It is Tuesday, April 18th, and last night was opening night of the NHL Lord Stanley's playoffs.
Yes, and the game went a little late.
It went a little late.
A little late, yeah.
Yes, I am a Wild fan, and they went to double overtime, and they finally pulled it out. What a game it was. My
really
goodness. A lot
really
of playoff hockey. I'm sorry. There's nothing else like it.
No, I agree. I mean, it puts the regular season to shame. It's almost pointless to watch the regular season. They're two completely different styles and paces of play.
You can, just the intensity, every shift. I grew up playing baseball, watching baseball. My grandpa had baseball on in the background when we'd be fishing, and whatever we were doing, we listened to every game, and I just loved baseball. But a lot of that was because I didn't have hockey in our town growing up, so I didn't play it. I love the game of hockey now.
It's a blast. I grew up, we played street hockey every single day in the summer. Like, that's just what we did as kids. Hockey was really big in my hometown.
Yeah. And here's where I struggle right now. You've got these NHL players that they can barely walk. Their bones are broken, and they're out there playing and skating. I'm sorry, but Byron Buxton to start the season for the Minnesota Twins played DH 4 days and then got a day off.
He's made of glass. He is.
I just can't. I have lost so much respect for the game of baseball because they don't need rest.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they're in the prime of their life.
Yeah.
They're never going to be in better shape. And you can't bat 4 times and then play the next day. Like, what is it?
A hockey player will take a stick to the face, lose some teeth, and go back out on the ice after that.
My gosh. Hockey players are just another breed.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this. You produce this show.
Yeah.
And you've done thousands of other podcasts.
Yeah.
Most of them in the sports world.
Yeah. No, I started out doing sports. I think it was like I did sports podcasting for 5 years before I started doing these outdoors ones. So this is a fun time of year when it's the playoffs. We have these late games because we live in Minnesota and they're out playing on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
So I know we have audience all over the country, and I'm specific to Minnesota teams here right now, but Anthony LaPanta, the play-by-play for the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah,
and
I produce a show with him and Michael Russo, who is probably the best hockey writer in all of the country. Easy. Yeah. He has to be.
What's it like producing their podcast every week?
It's a lot of fun just because they're two knowledgeable guys. but they also are like best friends. So they just pick on each other,
Yeah.
which makes it even more fun.
Yeah.
And everybody's got an opinion. So I don't know. It's just a good time. It's really cool getting to know the guys. Like,
Yeah. Worst Seats in the House is the
Yep.
name of the podcast, and I listen to it. I mean, it's good information because they are so well connected with the team. A lot of podcasts, sports related, are not as connected. So that's why I find that one really interesting.
I'm lucky a lot of the sports podcasts I do are with sports journalists. So they all have the inside scoop. I also work with Roy Smalley of the Twins on the baseball podcast as well. So we have an old baseball player's insight, which is just something else you don't really
That
get.
old school mindset. Does he complain about what I just mentioned, the DH and then take a day off?
I think he's an old school guy, but he likes some of the new school stuff. So he can be bent a little on that. He likes the new pitch count. Everybody likes that.
Well, they've lost me as a hardcore baseball fan. I can't do it. I mean, play the
baseball's
game.
better to see in person. It's just the experience of going to the ballpark, eating the food. That's baseball. That's fun to me, but I would never sit and watch one on TV.
I love the game.
Yeah.
I love the game, but not the way it's managed today.
Yep.
It's lost the interest for me.
Yep.
My kids, they're big time into hockey too. I mean, the action is nonstop, and these guys are just flying. They're giving their all, putting their bodies on the line, and then we sit down for baseball. It's like, and two count. Oh, struck him out. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you hear,
Yeah. And then you have a new pitcher every inning nowadays
yes,
because they can't pitch more than
they
three.
go 55 pitches, they're out. Okay, enough of this talk. We're got to get into the world of upland bird hunting. Anyway, flush fact today. But before I do, I'm going to bring in our guest, Neal Tacheny from the Deep Portage Learning Center in Hackensack, Minnesota. Good morning, Neal.
Good morning.
Are you a Wild fan?
I am.
Did you stay up last night too?
No way.
How far did you make it into the game?
I didn't even watch it. So I don't have cable or anything like that. So I'm a Wild fan, but they don't interest me as much as high school hockey or college hockey does.
So we have in Minnesota, and we have a lot of listeners to this show in Minnesota. So that's why I'm okay talking about this. The greatest sporting event in our country, arguably, is Minnesota's boys state high school hockey tournament. And if you've never seen it, they pack that arena.
They were doing numbers bigger than pro sports games that same day. That's how many people showed up. Like 18,000 people showed up for high school hockey.
It's amazing. What's your history with Minnesota's high school hockey, Neal?
Well, I grew up in White Bear, which holds the record for most state title appearances without a win. So that's always good.
Do you also hate Edina?
I wouldn't say hate, but no, there's a dislike there. But we learned how to skate before we learned how to walk where I grew up. So it's high school hockey. My brother and his friends, we even form a trip around an ice fishing trip the weekend of the state hockey tournament. It's that important to us to watch the games, and it's that, like you said, the intensity of those three games is unmatched in any other setting. It's just incredible. Those 16, 17-year-old kids out there playing for their careers, getting the spotlight, and something doesn't get any better than that. So
then they also get to show off their hockey hair flows. It's
right.
It's a beautiful thing. Let's see here. The flush fact today, I'm going to ask both of you, Neal and Brandon. How far do woodcock typically fly during their annual winter migration? Brandon, you go first. Take a stab.
Like how many miles?
Yeah, how many miles?
Oh, geez.
On average.
I'll guess 2,000.
Okay. Neal?
I would be in that same ballpark. Yeah, I mean, I know where they fly to. It depends, where they're going. I don't know the exact miles of that,
this is a tough factual question because every bird does their own thing. But according to the Rough Grouse Society, during fall migration, the average woodcock travels 870 miles between its breeding and wintering areas. The average distance they fly in a single night of migration is 160 miles. They fly at altitudes of about 50 feet, and they take between 25 to 30 days to do it, typically stopping 4 or 5 times along the way.
Wow.
There you go.
Right.
Yep. It's an interesting bird, and the reason I did a little research on them is because they've migrated back up. And I've spent a little bit of time out in the woods with Daisy here last week before. In Minnesota, there's a resting quiet period, just so that you're not running dogs and bumping birds that might be on nests. Now, obviously, the snow this year is really pushed everything, delayed the migration. But, it felt so good to be back out there, Daisy. The first bird, it flushed and she kind of like turned and ran a couple feet, and then she was like, oh, that's right, I need to stop. And then from that moment on, she was rock solid again. And it just felt so good to be back out in the woods. Saw a couple of rough grouse as well. But Neal, I bring it up because that's your neck of the woods up there, and you're in the rough grouse capital of Minnesota. I'm not going to call it the capital, but in an area that's very well known for rough grouse and woodcock. What does the spring condition look like for you today on Tuesday, April 18th?
Well, we just lost almost all the snow, I don't know, a couple days ago. Then it came back.
No.
So yeah, I had the first woodcock in the yard probably a week ago today, probably last Tuesday or Wednesday. I had one painting in the yard. I haven't seen many around. I do, take a lot of walks with the dog, and he hasn't bumped into many yet. But the grouse just started drumming. Like you said, we are for sure 2 weeks behind schedule of what is normal now, but a normal spring. For sure about 2 weeks behind. So yeah, I'm looking out at the lake. The shorelines are still very well intact. There's still scattered snow clumps in the woods, but so we're definitely behind schedule, but hopefully it'll turn around quick here.
It can happen really quick. Obviously, the extreme heat, isn't likely to return soon, but it'll be gone really quick. For somebody that's never experienced or doesn't understand what that woodcock mating ritual in the spring looks like, sounds like, can you paint the picture for us?
Yeah, so woodcock have a pretty unique display in the spring. So when the males come back and they find a suitable area that they find, hey, this is where I need to be. This is where the hen needs to be, or the female. They'll do a peent, and there's a lot of different words people use to describe it. I was always a zeep. Some people call it a peent, but they'll do that little sharp peent there out of their beaks. And they'll do that for a little bit, and they'll kind of move around in a little circle, and then eventually they'll take flight. And this always happens right about about dusk. And then they'll start, going all the way up in the air, and their wings make that beautiful, kind of that squeaky noise. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's just really squeaky sounding, really kind of just very interesting how they do that with their wing feathers. And then they kind of do a few circles up in the air, going around and around, and whoosh. Then they go right back into the ground, pretty much right where they were kind of sitting right beforehand, and they'll do that all evening and a little bit into the night hours, and hopefully attracting a female that comes in and finds them.
It's a cool sight that I have yet to see in person. I've seen videos, and it's something that I want to come up there. We just don't have a lot of woodcock where I live. You have to travel a couple hours to really get into them, especially during the spring season. How common is it to see this spectacle?
If you can find, anywhere you would hunt them in the fall, young aspen by an opening, very common up here. Like I said, we've had them in the yard painting where I lived previous to here. We had them in the yard. If you find the habitat they're going to lay eggs in, you're gonna find painting birds for sure.
What kind of experience do you have monitoring rough grouse populations in the spring drumming?
Here at Deep Portage, it's a pretty unique landscape. It's 6,307 acres of Cass County land. It's managed for timber, it's managed for recreation, and then, of course, we have our own campus for the Learning Center. But the past 4 springs, I've just kind of taken it to myself and kind of the volunteers and staff at Deep Portage to do the annual drumming counts on campus and around the forested areas. So basically, we take one Saturday in April or May when we think that the drumming is peaking, and take a different trail, take a different area, and we spend the morning out in the woods counting drumming counts, just like the DNR does. So it's very similar. And then we kind of tally those up and go from there.
It's such a cool sight to see. Now that I've seen quite a bit of. I actually sat in a blind and filmed a a cameraman, a photographer that he spends his spring days waiting for the grouse to return to the logs. And it's interesting how when they get drumming, I mean, they'll sit there all night, all day sometimes. They'll be drumming in pitch black. I mean, they drum and drum and drum and go, 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 go. I mean, that thing was there for a couple hours the last time I was in the blind watching a log, and it just would jump down, jump back up. I mean, it's just a cool sound to hear, a cool sight to see. It's a staple in the Northwoods, and I'm wondering, Neal, based on your experience in the woods the last few years, how do you feel the population is currently at?
It from last fall, I can give you an update. It was fantastic. We've had the perfect winter conditions the past few winters, including this year. As much as we complain about another snowstorm, another this, oh no, the grouse just eat it up. They get away from the predators. They can stay warm at night. Everywhere I went, talked to people from Ely, Grand Rapids, Baudette, everyone was just raving how many birds they saw. And we're still seeing at the end of this winter, every day into work, I see birds, and taking walks, I see them. I've had them in the yard too.
Oh, I love it.
So we're doing, I think this was a great winter. And if spring holds out and kind of offers another reproduction year, I think it'll just be as good. It's, those cycles, it's tough to predict what's going to come out of those. I know it's just the male counts, but if last year was any indicator of how many really did make it through the season, it should be another great year for them.
Love to hear that. Explain to somebody that might not understand why all the snow is a blessing for rough grouse.
Yeah. So, there's been a lot of research in the past, 80 years of rough grouse management of, what temperature threshold they can take without freezing to death and without using those energy reserves. And deep snow allows them to burrow into the snow. So they'll literally at night, if they need to, they'll, be on a branch and, dive right into the snowbank or burrow as far as they need to go. To stay warm and away from predators. And if they don't get that opportunity, well, the owls, the fox, or whatever's chasing them in the winter has fair game on them all winter. But so that deep snow really helps them, stay protected from predators and the weather.
Nice. You mentioned your dog. What kind of dog do you have?
A crazy one. He's a German wire-haired pointer.
Gotcha. 3.5 years old, I see.
Yep.
Gotcha. And obviously, upland bird hunting is near and dear to your heart. Let's get into the Deep Portage Learning Center and your role there. What is the Deep Portage Learning Center?
Yeah, we are one of a few of the environmental learning centers around the state that specializes in outdoor recreation. So there's a few of us spread out around the state, north, south, east, and west around the state, and we specialize in getting in the school year kids to come on up from the Twin Cities, from all over Minnesota. We're all over the map to come for overnight trips and to do seasonal activities that we can do that the weather and kind of the conditions allow us to do. So, snowshoeing and skiing in the winter, to canoeing in the spring and fall, ecology, biology. And then, of course, in the summer, we transition into summer camps. And those are kind of the staple of Deep Portage has always been the Forkhorn series, so getting kids firearm safety or bow hunters education. We're just really into getting kids outside and using canoes and survival techniques and just showing them, hey, you can do this outside, and it's okay to be uncomfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
Getting them exposed to just, something new, maybe something to give them to do outside, into a new hobby, perhaps.
And Deep Portage has been around for, I want to say, 50 years. Is that right?
Yeah, this Saturday is our 50th anniversary celebration. So this is the big 50 year.
Wow. Congratulations to you and everybody up there. What keeps the doors open? How do you guys do it? Where does the money come from?
We have, of course, we have our programming. So we see about 7,000 school kids a year and about 500 summer campers. But outside of our program fees, we just have a terrific donor base. People like being outside. People like just the idea of what an outdoor learning center can be. So we are really blessed to have really an incredible amount of donors who want to see this type of programming succeed and go another 50 years. And it's been really awesome to be a part of, to see people donate their time, expertise, and their finances to help us out. So
yeah, and our personal connection, the two of us, you and I, is George Lyle, and George's family is one of those families that has supported your camp over the years, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. George Lyle on TV. Yeah, his nephew George and I worked together for a few years together, but his family has been strong supporters of organization for many years at Deep Portage. So they've been a great resource for us.
Very cool. And the reason that I think we're having you on today is because you reached out. Oh gosh, I don't know when it was, but you said we have an Upland Bird Camp, and it just opened, or not just opened, but the you can sign up now. The sign up for this coming Upland Bird Camp is now open. So that's why we wanted to wait and do this now, when people can go to sign up. For the past 30 years, you guys have held this Upland Bird Camp in the summer. What is it?
Upland Bird Camp is a very unique experience. It's exactly what it says in the title. We are a camp. It's a week long, 6 days, 5 nights, everything upland that we can possibly throw in 6 days.
Wow.
It was started by Upland enthusiasts in the area, local area, Longville, Pine River, Hackensack, and RGS volunteers, as really a way to introduce youth to the sport and the traditions of upland hunting. So these volunteers have kept it going for 30 years. And of course, the staff at Deep Portage have been tremendous in that over the years too. So yeah, just a way to get kids introduced and hopefully hooked and appreciate how, the traditions of upland hunting.
Can Brandon sign up, or is he too old? What's the age cutoff?
The age cutoff, I believe, is 15. I think so. It's you have to have your firearms.
Just
barely missed it.
Just
barely.
Close. If you have a birth certificate that says you're 15 or something.
If he shaved his beard, could I sneak him in?
For sure.
Well, I know it's not only Minnesota kids that can come to this camp. It's people from anywhere that want to travel into the Northwoods to experience this, right?
Yeah, we have had a few from North and South Dakota, from a few connections, and I think I had an inquiry from Colorado. That would be a first this year.
Really?
So yeah, I think the word has gotten out a little bit. So yeah, I think you can really be from anywhere. You just have to have a valid, whatever state you live in, firearm safety certificate, because make sure you're safe before you come to camp, and away we go.
Well, let's break this camp down a little bit. How many kids come, or what's like a full camp?
A full camp would be 40 campers.
Okay. So it's a pretty intimate camp then for a week. It's not hundreds of kids out there.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. What do they do when they get there?
Yeah, kind of run down, maybe day by day, and feel free to stop me and ask questions as we go. But yeah, so again, we're just trying to give them an introduction, not giving them too much information, but hopefully they're going to find something at camp that really interests them, that they can take into the field with them or take back home with them, improve their shooting skills or whatnot. So we really try to hit a lot of different elements to kind of strike a chord with them. So when they get to camp, the first day is all about an introduction to shotguns and shot shells, and hey, what is a shot shell? What is a shotgun? How do these things work? we don't take anything for granted. We want them to understand, how does a pattern work? What size different shot can you use? What are the different shots available for you to use? We introduce them to the different actions of shotguns, the different gauges, just that introductory stuff that every kid should just be familiar with, when they're going to handle a fire and be in the uplands. There's so much good science out there, that's, hey, you should be using this for pheasants. You should be using this for sharptails. Well, we kind of talk about that, and just so they're kind of aware of what those terms mean when they get to that point.
I'm going to jump in here real quick, because shot shells and shotguns, those are both topics that even experienced hunters often ask questions about, so that's something that I think when kids are sitting there and you're talking to them, what are their reactions to all this? What are their questions that they ask you?
They definitely have a lot of great questions, because about essentially like how does the shot shell hit number 2s versus number 6s, essentially which has more power. Kids love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They like going to the stores and they like looking at the boxes and, oh, this is bismuth, oh, what's that new thing. They're very interested in what the numbers mean and what the materials mean. So we put the boxes on the table and we're going to talk about, I have a shotgun shell I've split open and say, this is 2-shot, this is the size of it, this is how it carries its weight down, at 40 yards. This is 6-shot. This is what the size looks like and what are the pros and cons of using different types of shot shells. So that's really what they're interested in. They hear a lot of stuff at home or they hear a lot of stuff on TV. And I think they're just very curious to begin with, right? Of what does it all mean? What does it look like? So we try to really show them, what they're hearing on TV or at home.
Hands-on is the best way to teach. Do they come with knowledge of different levels? I mean, what kind of children, or I shouldn't say children, but what kind of young hunters come to camp and what information do they already have when they get there?
Yeah, I would say it's about a 50-50 split of kids who have hunted upland and kids who haven't, which is just terrific. We have a lot of returners, so that really helps too. But yeah, that's why we kind of start at the basics. Because 50% of the kids out of 40, maybe 20 have never seen a shotgun shell. All right. So they need to know. Right. And they're just always curious. We get a lot of kids too that are on trap teams at school. So that really helps too. And they kind of help the new kids along in very supportive ways and making sure everyone knows what they're doing.
I saw on your website that each kid will shoot roughly a case of shells. Is that accurate?
Oh, at least. Yeah, for sure.
How does that happen? Are they shooting every day?
Yes, every day but Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have, designated range time.
Okay. And is it going through a full sporting clay station or what kind of shooting are they doing?
Yeah. So we have a 10-station sporting clays course on campus there right at Deep Portage. So it's about a 15-minute walk down the road campus. It's right on site. And we start from the beginning. So day one, even if you're a state champion, trap or clay target shooter, we're starting at the beginning with these kids. Stance and fundamentals is huge. Day one, we're only going to see singles today. Maybe we'll get into a couple pairs by the end of it. We're just, trying to get those fundamentals down of, hey, how do you swing? How do you point? What should your arms? How are you going to move your arms with your target? Because 10 stations, it's a lot of information. There's a lot of new targets. We have ones that go away. We have ones that come over the head, ones that come at you. So we get them introduced, and then each day we up the ante. So we make it a little more challenging, but trying to still meet the needs of each individual shooter. We have many great coaches who help out.
Is it intimidating for the kids when they pick up that gun and there's maybe somebody sitting next to them that can shoot pretty well and they're a little nervous about their own skills?
Yeah, we certainly see that. And how we kind of divide the kids up is we actually go by height, which sounds kind of interesting, but we do that for shotgun sizing. Okay. And it turns out usually the older kids with more experience are generally taller, and then the shorter kids are younger, less experienced. So that kind of really helps. We also, one or two kids a year we'll get that are pretty trepid about doing it, but we have low low recoil shells. We'll take them individually maybe for a little bit. So we really meet where any kid is. We try to meet at their level and try to get them better in baby steps.
If you're an outdoor lover on the go, then odds are good that you have toys and equipment that you want to haul. Aluma Trailers, well, they've got you covered. Their trailers are built by a hardworking team in Bancroft, Iowa. They have models for nearly any and every hauling need, from ATV and UTV trailers to utility, snowmobile, motorcycle, car trailers, and even fully enclosed trailers like mine. Trust me when I say that Aluma trailers tow like a dream. Their trailers are constructed out of lightweight, strong, corrosion-resistant aluminum, and they are 100% maintenance-free. Plus, they come with an industry-best 5-year warranty. Visit alumaklm.com to find a trailer that fits your needs. I love my dog, and like you, I always want to make sure that she has what she needs to stay healthy year-round and perform at her best in the field. That's why I feed Daisy Nutrisource high-performance dog food. Nutrisource dog food comes with their Good for Life system that includes 4 key ingredients that work together to support gut health, heart health, and the overall well-being of our dogs. I have complete confidence that my dog has all of the nutrition to excel in the field and make it through a rigorous hunting season. I've seen it firsthand, and she loves her food. Take it from me and my dog Daisy. Nutrisource high-performance dog food can help your dog reach their full potential. Find the food that's right for your dog at NutrisourcePetFoods.com. Hunting season might be over, but that doesn't mean it's time to mope around the house and hang your head. That's because it's meat season. Now is a great time to make the most of all that tasty meat you harvested. Maybe it's time to try a new recipe, sprinkle on a new seasoning, or make your own jerky and sausage. Trust me, it's not that hard to do, and it can be fun for the whole family. It doesn't matter what you harvested or what you want to prepare with it. Walton's has you covered. Walton's has everything but the meat. That's their motto. Waltons.com has everything, and I mean everything you need to process and prepare your meat. Plus, they have an online community called Meatgistics that's full of recipes and meat processing information. The sky's the limit, my friends. You don't have to be a pro to cook like one. Head to Waltons.com today and enjoy meat processing season. Thankfully, it's a season that never ends. What advice do you have for somebody that has kids that they're trying to teach how to shoot that you could pass along to them?
It should be successful, as in shoot at ground targets first. That, hey,
Sure.
you can prove you can break one of these. You know, put a clay target on the ground 15 yards away and break it. Break it again. Hey, you can do this. You know, it's not the gun, it's not the shell. You can do this, and then, you know, baby steps from there. Make it easy, so that way they can continuously get better. And hey, you're going to fail a bunch once they start flying. It's as we know, as hunters, as you know, sporting clay shooters, are going to miss, and that's part of it. You know, follow that target all the way to the ground. Do everything right, even when you miss. I think is probably the biggest piece of advice I could give somebody: is do it right, make it look good, even though you're missing.
Sure. I have to imagine you've seen a lot of joy in some of those kids. I've introduced several people to shooting their first time, and when they hit that first target, they look at you, they look at everybody around, they're like, "Oh, like something clicks, right?" In their mind, they're like, "Okay, that makes sense. I can do that again." And the just pure joy that comes out of that, their facial expressions. You have some stories that stand out in all your years of doing this?
Yeah, I have a few, and the one thing that I always, you know, we always see at Upland Camp is this is a wing shooting school that is designed to get you better at bird hunting, and we get a ton of kids from their local trap teams. And trap shooting and clay target shooting is 100% a different activity.
Yeah.
So they always walk up with the gun pointed at the ground, and they get in the cage, and then they start missing, and then they start missing. And no matter how many times you tell them this, you can't be doing that. This is, you know, get set, get ready. And then finally they listen, and then finally they hit one. And they're like, oh, I get this.
Love it.
You know, we're preparing them for wing shooting. So yeah, you're going to get kids that are going to miss, you know, 75, 80% of targets. And that's okay. But like you said, when they're hitting those a few at a time, taking baby steps, right, the smiles on their faces, and like, hey, I can do this. It's just going to take me longer than another kid. And that's okay. So yeah, I think that's what makes Upland Bird Camp so special, is the differences in shooting abilities. And then the kids who are good are always been so supportive of the kids who need help, and giving them tips, giving them a high five when they get back to the bench. It's always been just a really supportive community.
Love it. Beyond shooting, what other activities do you take these kids through?
Yeah, so we're really lucky to have a tremendous group of volunteers that dedicates their time to come in and do special speeches and lectures and activities for the kids. One of our favorites is we have a local DNR biologist come down from Bemidji, and what he'll do is he'll bring a bunch of duck wings and grouse wings and woodcock wings, and he teaches the kids how to ID birds on the wing, try to get an approximate age, and if, you know, what their sex is, if they're male or females. And kids love it. They don't seem that interested at first. It's kind of funny. And then at the end of the week, like, what was your favorite part? Like, oh, I love learning how to age woodcock wings, or if they're male or female. I think that was really useful.
Yeah.
Then he'll also bring his radio telemetry gear. He does a lot of GPS work in his research, and he'll hide the GPS targets in the woods. And he'll literally, just like you see on TV, he'll give the kids that big antenna-looking device with the beeper,
Sweet.
and away they go.
I want to go to this camp. It sounds like fun.
It's so fun.
Hunting ethics and safety, I have to imagine that becomes part of this program at some point, right?
Yeah, so that's our biggest takeaway from Upland Bird Camp, besides becoming a safe, effective wing shooter, is how we go about ethically and responsibly hunting. And there are so many different good answers to that.
Sure.
There's also a lot of bad answers to that, and we have volunteers that'll come in and not just tell stories, but tell stories with a meeting and get kids to think about their actions of what they're doing out in the field. We have a speaker who used to come in and as simple as, he has this story he always tells, and he goes, one day I was up in Saskatchewan and I shot a Hungarian partridge that went 4 feet over a property line. And he goes, I could have easily walked over there and grabbed it. No harm done. It was on private property. Nobody would have seen me. But I took the extra step to walk the 1/4 mile to that farmhouse and ask permission if I could retrieve. And because of that one simple ask, and he gained access to like 10,000 acres of private hunting land in that day. They invited him back, and there's simple stories like that just to remind the kids, hey, somebody is always watching you. Be nice to people when you're asking permission, and how to follow through on that, how to come back year after year, how to be respectful of the community. And take care of our resources outside of just hunting, how to take care of landowners' land, essentially. So,
do you teach them how to ask permission?
We do, yes.
That is something that I don't know that I've ever heard anybody else do at any camp. How to ask permission. It's
kind of a fun activity we do. So what I'll do is, I have a long, I've done a lot of private land ownership acquisition in my life. So of our volunteers, and we'll hide behind the door essentially, and they have to knock on the door, and we just come up with different scenarios of what we have seen in the past from different, from different property owners, and the kids have to ask permission. And sometimes they get it, and sometimes they don't. And we make them think and make them kind of use, they're 14 or 15, so they're kind of nervous, but we understand that. But we kind of train them and coach them. Hey, take off your hat when you come to the door. Hey, be responsible. What's the first thing you should say to a landowner? Things like that we talk about with them to better prepare them to be presentable for the hunting community.
I think some of our listeners could benefit from this. Is there any way to give us a glimpse of how this goes down?
Yeah, like I said, essentially, for 10 minutes, or maybe a little longer, we just have a few stories of things we've encountered in the past, land ownership wise, bad things and good things that we've all seen going to people's doorsteps, being ignored or being yelled at, or hey, yeah, of course you can hunt here. So we just kind of coach them through. Hey, the first thing you should really say is, hey, my name is so-and-so. Do you allow pheasant hunting on your property? Because, that's right there. That's the first thing you should be asking. This is who I am. This is what I'm interested in. And if they don't, well, you didn't waste any more of their day. And if they say, yeah, I do, now we can start talking. Hey, this is who I am. This is where I'm from. This is what I'm interested in. And kind of continue the conversation from there. So,
wow, that's awesome. I think that's a skill that a lot of times can be intimidating for people. And
right.
Yeah, it's interesting. So a couple of the places near where I live, I've known the landowners for quite a while. They've given me permission for several years. And now that my kids are coming with too, and also hunting, even though I could call them or text them and, let them know I'm coming out, or making, asking, is it okay to come back out again? I always stop and talk to them in person, and I always bring my kids with too. And I want them to see what I'm doing and how I'm going about it, and talking with the landowners about how things are going for them, or if there's anything that they might need help with. Is there anything out there on the property that I should be looking out for? And what have you been seeing? Things like that. And then this year, my son last week, my oldest, he was the one to ask permission, and he's only 8 years old. But I said, "This is your turn this year," because he was the one that was going to be turkey hunting. And I said, "We're going to go talk to Pete, and I want you to ask him if it'd be okay for you to hunt again, and thank him for the opportunities that he's already given us." So it just filled my heart watching this boy go up there. And then Pete jokingly listened to him, and he goes, "No, absolutely not." And then Weston got all nervous and flustered. He goes, "I'm just kidding. Of course you can, But it's the real life situations that I'm hoping to help him and develop that and confidence and the ability to do it, because it's important. Very, very important. I didn't know you guys offered that, but I love that. That's something that the kids learn when they come there. What about dogs? What do they learn about dogs?
Yes. My dog gets to come to work every day. So they get to be around my bird dog. He loves kids, and, we do a little bit of stuff with him, not too much, because the last full day of camp, and, we've had a very awesome connection and a relationship with a professional dog kennel and training facility, and probably a lot of listeners know it, Pine Shadows Kennel down in Brainerd, Minnesota. And they're just a terrific Springer Spaniel breeder. But more than that, they just do a tremendous job of training bird dogs. And that's just an awesome experience they provide us. And every year since Upland Camp has been started, they've been right there with us every year. So we head down there, and they have about 6 or 7 different stations for the kids. We break up, the kids into groups. And it's, this is the day that transformed, when I didn't know if I was going to come back to Deep Portage. This was the day I'm like, I got to come back every year just to be part of this. Yeah. The first station they send the kids to really is, we're going to cover flushing dogs and pointing dogs. And they put live birds in the field with their professional gunners, with their professional trainers, and the kids walk behind. And the Hagelins at Sophie and Mark, kind of the owners there. And then they're just terrific. They let the kids walk behind the trainer. The trainer's explaining, hey, this is a flushing breed. Look at him work right. Look at him work left. On the whistle, he's doing this. We know he's getting birdie when we see this. Look what he's doing. And, of course, the pigeon is let go, and boom goes the dynamite, and the dog retrieves the bird. And, what's awesome, too, sometimes these dogs are not their dogs. These are like client dogs. And so they mess up, and that's great. So then the kids get to see how a trainer corrects a dog when they don't bring it back to hand, or, hey, maybe he didn't quarter as much as we wanted. I'm gonna cast him out again. And then they bring the pointers out in the field, and they show kids, hey, this is how a dog should point. This is how we don't want him to creep. This is how we do things with the pointing breed. And then, they have a Canine 101 kind of medical station that Sophie runs for Pine Shadows there, and she talks about, hey, dogs are going to get hit by porcupines, they're going to get dehydrated, things are going to happen. Yeah. Here's how you take care of that. And then they also have 1 or 2 service dogs at Pine Shadows that are trained to go into hospitals and help people, and help people that are sick, or people that need a dog for the day, and they talk about how they train their dogs. They have a skeet shooting station, and then who could forget the favorite station of all the kids is the puppy station. So they literally bring the puppies out, and every kid gets to hold a puppy. And not only that, these trainers are so good. They force the kids to say, hey, you are the boss here. Like, I know the puppy is cute. They make cute puppy sounds, but hey, you got to have more wins than the dog does. And here's how we're going to teach you that today. And they literally put a 10-week-old puppy, maybe a 14-week-old puppy in your hands. They teach kids how to pet them properly, how to get them calm, how to call them, how to make them do things. And then they also do, hey, we're going to show you how to introduce a dog to gunfire right in front of you. And they bring the puppies out in the field, and they show you how to whistle for them, how to quarter them, how to shoot and when to shoot, how to train them with birds in front of your feet. It's just, it's too much. It's so good. I wish I had more time to explain. It's just like, it's so hands-on. And I've been doing it 10 years now. It's new to me every time. They're so good at what they do for those kids, and because they're educators, they're trainers. I know how to talk to kids and dogs alike. They just know how to train them really well.
There's something magical. Maybe magical isn't the word, but there's something just like, I could sit and watch a dog trainer that knows dogs and understands dogs. I could watch them all day, and how they understand that dog and the tendencies, or whether it's yawning and or licking their lips and what that means, and just things that dog is doing in the field and how they navigate around it and get the dog, to work with them. It's so cool to watch. I have to imagine that's where the kids are all just wide-eyed, everything that's happening, they're just focused on.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny because you say that, because when the dogs are in the field with the big dogs and they're running them, the kids are like kind of standing back, like, I don't know, should I be doing this? But once they, should I be fun? But once we bring them to that puppy station and they put a dog in your hands and show them how to do this right, the kids don't want to leave. Like, can I stay here? I don't want to leave this station. This is too much fun.
I don't blame them at all.
Right, and those trainers, like exactly, they're just really good at what they do. And even when they're talking, if the dog gets off its place board and Joni's doing her, hey, this is how we're treating it, she puts that dog right on that place board. Like, so even as she's talking to these kids, she's still training the dog. And it's really good for the kids to see that of, hey, you can't let your dog get away with too much. You can let them get away with some stuff, but you got to have an obedience here that is consistent, and that's what they teach the kids: just be consistent of what you're going to tell your dog. So be nice to them and how to treat them.
You've been doing this for 10 years. What have some of the parents told you after the fact, or things that really stand out to you from experiences with the kids? I have to imagine there's been some pretty amazing testimonials that have come back to you.
Yeah, it's maybe they thank me for now they have to go buy a puppy for their kid. But that has happened, the kid gets home, and I've also seen it where once where a parent had a puppy in the car ready to go for the kid. Like, they literally brought the kid to camp to learn how to do it. And then there was the dog waiting for him in the truck.
How cool.
It was just the coolest thing.
That is the coolest. Oh, man.
Right. So, yeah. And I don't hear too much from parents, but I hear it from the kids a lot of, hey, this really helped prepare me for my fall. And we get a lot of repeat kids, at least 5 or 10 a year. This is like their second or third time coming to camp. But, they've seen all the lectures. They've been to the dog. They just can't get enough. It's like preparing them for kind of their fall shooting season too. So that's a lot where we hear from the kids, is just kind of how much they learned in 1 week.
Well, it sounds pretty amazing. And anybody listening right now, if they have kids that are interested in this or might be interested in this, I assume it's going to fill up again. I would encourage people probably to head to your website earlier than later to make sure that they can get a spot for their kids, right?
Yeah, this is probably the biggest week or two here, because now I know that soccer and tennis or whatever sport you're playing in the summer, I know teams are being picked like right now. So that's when parents really start hitting the registration hard. So this is the perfect time to sign up right now.
The camp is in August of this year. When is it typically held?
Yeah, it's Sunday, July 30th, I believe, is the first day.
Okay.
I can double check my calendars right up in front of me here. Yeah, it's Sunday, July 30th through August 4th, which is a Friday.
Gotcha. For you personally, why do you keep doing this?
Because upland hunting is amazing. I love it.
Well, agreed.
Right. Yeah, it's just, I guess it's right, just to show the upland hunting kids they can do it. And I don't big game hunt. It just doesn't interest me. It is what it is. I'm glad people do it. But I think this upland hunting is something everybody can do. And if they want to do it, especially around here, there's so much public land available. All you need, is simple equipment to take a walk down a dirt road up here and go grouse hunting. I think that's what I like to show kids, is you don't need a deer stand. You don't need to make this. You don't need scent blocker. Anyone can do this if you really set your mind out to it. And I think that's what really appeals to me, is showing kids they can do this once they can drive or remember with their parent. And it's a great activity, right? It's not like deer hunting where you need to know your game. You need to study your deer. You need to study what's going on. But someone new to hunting can pick up grouse hunting. They really can and enjoy it. And I think the memories I have of in the woods, those crisp October days where it's 25 degrees and sunny. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that in the woods. And that's part of the hunting, is get these kids outside on a beautiful day where they can explore, the woods around us. And that's ultimately what I'm after, is giving them a hobby where they can get out in the woods and enjoy it just like I was able to.
How about for parents that are, active with their kids? What advice might you have based on just the hundreds of kids that you've taught over the years? I mean, is there anything that really stands out to you that like, hey, this is something that I think is very important to do or not to do?
In terms of upland hunting?
Yeah, I think upland hunting, that's our core audience here, but just in general, introducing kids to hunting
Right.
and all the other aspects of
Yeah.
it, from gun safety to, shooting on the wing to dogs. I
Mhm.
mean, there's a lot that goes into this particular part of hunting, but
Mhm.
the reality is, is it finding each individual kid where they're at and
Mhm.
walking alongside of them, or what is important to you?
Yeah, I've had some talk with people over this, the past year of what my recommendation for introducing new hunters and giving them experiences, and, giving them a single shot shotgun with one opportunity to practice that good wing shooting, make your shots count. But most importantly, I think what really sold me, and I'm just a different person. I'm different than everyone. Everyone's different, but my dad took me out on adventures. It wasn't let's just walk a logging road or drive a logging road and shoot what we see. It was, we're going to go walk this river today. We're going to walk these river bottoms. We're going to go take an adventure back to this hogback. And I think that's what sold it for me, was there's more to it than just hunting for me personally. It's right. It's taking those adventures into the woods, learning your plants, learning your animals. And that's what becomes, you become a better hunter. Then that's adding depth into your hunt, is appreciating more than just the birds. You can go to the woods and appreciate more. Hey, I didn't see anything today, but man, I did see a lot of this today, or I noticed this fall-wise. So I think that's what's really important, is to have hobbies outside of the hunt be incorporated into it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Very well said. I know last week with Marilyn Vetter from Pheasants Forever, the new president and CEO, we talked a little bit about this, but how important it is for kids to experience having to develop their own skills. And I shouldn't say kids, I think everybody. Develop their own skills, put them to the test out there in the field, but then also just being out there and seeing animals that have to survive every day, because you appreciate them so much more. And in turn, you then respect them and want to care about the land and the animals in ways that you wouldn't if you never had the opportunity to see them in their wild habitat.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm very thankful to when I grew up hunting, we stopped at every beaver cut. We stopped at, every piece of scat along the way, and we're just learning how to be in the woods. And I think that's a missed opportunity. And not everyone has access to that, but that's what Deep Portage can offer is, hey, we have people that can show you how to do that.
Wow.
We find a connection to the land that makes you want to come back and appreciate, like you said, when I think I went out to Montana for the first time this fall, and I just stood in those prairies, and I felt bad for my buddy because I was sitting there trying to identify grasses and flowers, while the dogs are out running, right? And that's what does it for me. I'm like, I am content. I don't care if we see a bird. I mean, I do, but it was so cool to be in that type of habitat and something special like that.
It is a special thing. Well, Neal, appreciate everything you're doing up there. Again, if people want to sign up, I encourage you to sign your kids up sooner than later. Deep Portage Learning Center, and you'll see a link on the top of the website called Summer Camps. And the one that we're talking about today is the Upland Bird Camp. Sounds like a pretty incredible opportunity. I thank you for all the work you and your team are doing, Neal. And here's to another 50 years.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me today. And yeah, I'll look forward to another awesome camp season. And hey, like I told my wife the other day, only 3.5 months left to go.
Oh,
the first season, so
we'll be back in the
3 to 4 months. So.
Love it. Your glass is half full. I like that a lot.
That's right.
All right, we'll be back next week with another episode of the Flush Podcast.